Number 1. Millionaires and billionaires think big. So many times we let our past determine our future. We say, I can't have X, I can't have $1 million, I can't be on the path to $1 billion because here's all the reasons in my past and ways I failed that are preventing me from getting there. We let being realistic stop us and hold us back from the life we want, from the life we deserve. To stop settling and start living. The first step to doing that is this practice, a concept called zero-based thinking. This comes from Brian Tracy. If you could start over today, you could scrap everything in your past. How would you act? How would you behave? What are the habits you would instill? Would you hang out with? Would you be in the same business you're in right now? Would you be doing the same things you're doing every single day? Would you be living in the same environment? Would you be dating that person? Would you be spending money on what you're spending it on? There's no right or wrong here. You answered no to any of those. No, I would change something. Then get moving and change it. Steve Jobs said it best, and he says, look around you. Everything around you changes when you realize it was built by people who are no smarter than you. Everything around you is built by people who are no smarter than you. And I allow yourself to dream, to think big, and that's how you get the results. That's how you break task limiting beliefs. Practice your base thinking and just go for it all. Right now that we've fought big enough, let's talk now about the nitty-gritties on how to get rich. Okay, there's two ways I like to think about this. Derek Halpern likes to tell the story about a locksmith. Now this guy starts out and he goes around the client's house and unlocks their locks that are stuck. First it takes him 2.5 hours. He's sitting there fiddling with the lock, struggling, he can't get it open, and then finally boom, it opens. That'll be $250. Well, what happens over time? This locksmith gets better and better his job. Pretty soon the first taking him an hour 30 minutes, and then eventually he can get that lock open in just 10 minutes. That'll be $250. What he noticed is when he charged people $250 for the 2 hours, they would happily pay it. But as this locksmith started getting better and better at his job, the time went less and less, and he charged the same amount. His client started throwing a fit. What do you mean $250? I saw you open that lock with a click of a button in 10 minutes. But what the locksmith understood is that he wasn't compensated for his time. 2.5 hours it took him to open the lock. What the customer didn't understand, that the locksmith is compensated for the value. You and I need to adopt that mindset of being compensated for the value, the results we give to a company, to an organization, to ourselves in our business, to others, instead of the amount of time we put in. So to summarize, ditch the time for hours mindset and start thinking of the value for dollars mindset. The second way on this point, number 3, increase the size of those you serve. Jim Rohn, legendary motivational speaker, said, the more I serve, the more I earn. I know a trainer at the gym I go to, good friends of him. This man works himself sick. He works 12-hour days, probably 5 days a week, trains 50 to 60 clients every single week, is very open with me. He makes about $8K a year. What's wrong with this is that he's tapped out. He's pushed himself to the max. $8K is the most amount he will make. Now what would happen if he took 1 or 2 days off, and he, instead of $80K for 50-60 clients, he trained 40 or 30 clients and brought in $40K a year? But in those 2 days he focused on serving the masses. In other words, he got out of that 50 to 60 people with all I can serve, and he put it into creating videos on YouTube. He put it into growing an email ads. He put it into marketing himself as a trainer online, going after the masses of people. Pretty soon, over time, might not be instantly, he would eventually make that difference of that $40K a year, because once you know how to make $40K, it's easier to scale that up to $400. Okay, if he took 1 or 2 days and focused on how do I serve the masses, how can I scale what I'm doing, can I film these workouts and post them online, can I attract people to me by giving away free information and then eventually release products to them, and pretty soon over time you're making that difference of that $40K by now working 3 days a week instead of 5. Mindset of self-made millionaires and billionaires. Number 4, communicate. I love the quote Tony Robbins has. He says, the quality of your life is the quality of your communication. This really comes down to 2 areas: how well you communicate with yourself, what our internal self-talk, the dialogue we're telling ourselves, the zero-based thinking, but also how well you communicate with others. Look at self-made millionaires and billionaires. Look at Steve Jobs. Look at Oprah Look at Tony Robbins, look at Bill Gates. What do they have in common? They have a method of speaking the people that connect. Warren Buffett, one of the richest men of all time, said that taking Dale Carnegie's public speaking course was one of the best investments he's ever made in themselves. Let's end this on a quote from Tim Ferriss out of the 4-Hour Workweek. Says that a person's success or failure in life comes down to the amount of uncomfortable conversations he or she is willing to have. Communicating means speaking well to others, connecting with others, but also being okay having the tough conversations that puts you forward. Mindset number 5. Decide, commit, achieve. We got to go after our goals, go after success with laser targeted focus, almost an obsession, and then it will happen. Point in case. Bill Gates said he didn't leave the cubicle for 10 years before he eventually became a success, one of the richest men of all time now. But when he follows stories about Bill Gates, what do you see? You see him speaking on stage, you see him revealing products, you see him talking with people. You don't see him hunched over in a cubicle. For those 10 years he was grinding it out and killing himself just to become successful. Bill Gates didn't try 50 things and then stumble across one that worked. He went after one with laser targeted focus. One of my biggest lessons of 2016, just looking at it in my journal, it said I used to think I'll try things until something's successful. Now I think I'll commit and stick at something until it's successful. This image right here really illustrates the point. We don't know sometimes how close or far away success is. What if you quit 10 feet before the finish line? All your results are lost. Everything you worked for is gone. Success comes to those who have that laser targeted focused, go after what they want, and are ruthless with getting it. Success mindset of the self-made. Number 6. Speed is king. Was watching a video actually on the same topic. I think his valuetainment was the guy Patrick. He does great videos, you should check him out. He said that one of the best things entrepreneurs do, because they adopt this mindset that I can create faster than anyone can copy. I love that right there. Don't worry about what everyone else is doing, worry about speed and creating your product, your art, and putting it out there to the world. Billionaire Mark Cuban from Shark Tank owns the Dallas Mavericks. I love what he said on one episode. He said that I believe perfection is the enemy of profitability. I wrote that down because that resonates. If you and I are so focused on becoming perfectionist, on making everything we put out into this world absolutely perfect, how are we going to get anywhere? You need speed, you need that execution, you need mass amounts. Remember what we talked about with serving the masses of massive value. Massive value doesn't come from putting out 1 or 2 perfect things. They may be thinking, Clark, I don't want to put out good when perfect is what Apple products are. Perfect is what you know. Those best-selling books are perfect is what fill in the blank is. I agree with you. Here's why you want to do good, because that's your MVP, your minimal viable product. The iPhone went through how many generations are around now? 7 before it became better and better and better and better. But it started with the iPhone 1. If you brought out the ice on the day you look at it and say this is this is a hunk of metal, what is this thing doing? You'd find all these flaws with it, but at the time it was so cutting edge, people flocked to it, and then they kept making it better and better and better. That was their MVP. There's always stuff to improve on with you. Focus on put your art into the world. Focus on starting things, become faster and getting it out there. Create faster than anyone can copy. That's how you get ahead with business success. Mindset number 7, the last one, model the masters. Again, going back to a gym. Ron quote, success leaves clues. 1, true them. That's very spot on. As you are who you hang around. Birds the feather flock together. If you look at your 5 people you hang around most, you're the average of them, so you got to seek out people. It's why it's important to think out people who are ahead of you and average yourself up instead of hanging around what's comfortable or even what feels good subconsciously. You know, if you hang around people who are doing worse than you get an ego boost from them because you're the successful one. You shouldn't feel like that amongst your friends. Find 5 people, find communities like this one, find people online. Now we're globally connected, and average yourself up into the top 5 people of you hang around most. Seek out mentors, seek out coaches, seek out people who have been there that you can learn from and shorten the learning curve. Number 8, I will tell you how to become rich. Close the doors, but fearful when others are greedy, the greedy when others are fearful. As a young person, if there is any single advice you should take very serious from anyone, the advice is be different, go against the tide, figure out what everyone is doing and do just opposite. But why is this important? Well, it's important to do the opposite of what everyone else is doing because most people in the world aren't thinking. Most people in the world find it hard to use their brains, so most of times what they do are determined by social proof, which in turn makes that decision wrong. Take for instance, most people will only invest in stocks when stock prices are crazily going high. Unfortunately, that's when smart individuals are selling. If you are normal, you can't succeed. Don't be normal. Figure out what everyone is doing and do just the opposite. Advice number 9. No matter how great the talent or efforts, some things just take time. You can't produce a baby in 1 month by getting 9 women pregnant. What do you think is the number one reason why most people in the world are poor and unsuccessful? Well, it takes time, crazy dedication, and unusual persistence to create wealth and success. You must patiently endure to tough times, or you will be able to go through the rough road that leads to success. Great things take time. You can't have a baby next month by impregnating 9 women today. Advice number 10. It's better to hang out with people better than you. Pick out associates whose behavior is better than yours and you drift in that direction. One thing young people do more than anybody of other age demographic is that young people associate a whole lot. Unfortunately, most people are not conscious of who they hang out with. We have an important exercise for you. Pause this video and make a list of 5 people you spend most of your time with. Close your eyes and imagine where these people unlikely to be in the next 5 years. Sorry, that's where you're going to. It's pretty simple. If you're associates and not ambitious or positive about life, you can't be. If your friends don't know more than you are never going to grow and become a better person. So what should you do? Cut yourself off from negative and unmotivated people. Choose your friends carefully because you can't be better than who you associate with. Advice number 11. You won't keep control of your time unless you can say no. You can't let other people set your agenda in life. Look around you. What do you see? Distractions, distractions, distractions everywhere. The social media, TV, parties and movies, all these are interesting stuff that bring little or no value to who we are. The more no we can say to distractions, the more time we'll have to be productive at things that we matter. Advice number 12. You don't have to be smarter than the rest, you have to be more disciplined than the rest. Forget everything you've been told about talents and IQ. Talents are as common in the world as table salt. Hundreds of people with 200 IQ score broke. Discipline, practice, dedication and persistence are what you need to be successful. Number 13. Risk comes from not knowing what you are doing. Take for instance, more than 90% of people who are planning to start your own businesses will never take time to study or read even 10 books about business, not to talk of 100. Yet we all believe that business and investing are risky. Why? One day the real risk is in your ignorance. The more you know about your field, the less risky it becomes. To reduce risk, seek knowledge. Advice number 14. The change of habits are too light to be felt until they are too heavy to be broken. Have you ever seen a drug addict looking helpless and wish in some parts rescue him from his addiction? The best thing you can do with your life is to avoid bad habits altogether. Experimenting with them is like playing with fire, because when your bad habits grow, you become their slaves. Advice number 15. Enjoy your work and work for whom you admire. According to a Gallup poll study, 85% of people all over the world hate their jobs. Since you're going to spend more than 50% of your entire adult life working and planning to work, you better do all you can to do what you enjoy. It may not be easy, but if you'll be willing to pay the price and go through the necessary pains, you can create for yourself the kind of job or business you enjoy. Advice number 16. You can't buy what is popular and do well. This is very similar to our first point. You see, whenever anything becomes popular here, the game is over. Be it a business idea, an investment opportunity, when you read about it in the news, it's too late to call it an opportunity. Don't leave by the noise. The real thing is in the cigarette. So how do you get the heating opportunities? No one is seen. Read the books no one is reading. Search for knowledge when others search for entertainment. If you know what others don't know, you see opportunities long before they see them. Advice number 17. Never invest in a business you cannot understand. Don't be a generalist, be a specialist. Choose one of few fields you are interested in. Study every day to know what nobody knows about such field, and say no to any other thing you don't understand. If you can take time to study any business, don't ever invest in it because everyone is doing so. For instance, don't invest in cryptocurrency because everyone is doing so. If you can't take time to study cryptocurrency, don't invest in stock market.